first question was kind of easy. I knew this one. What is your name? Drew Barnette. I've known that, I think, for pretty much my whole life. So I don't know if the questions get harder after that. But job title, I'm the Director of Student Athlete Services at Morehead State. And that you wear a lot of hats in that role. One of the big, if you ask the NCAA what I do the external reporting of academics and eligibility and other reports for the GSR and APR. That's essentially a lot of words to describe how the NCAA traces the academic performance of all the student athletes. Internally, we help with class scheduling, trying to build those so classes are going towards the degrees they ultimately want and fitting it around the practice schedule, the playing schedule, and all of that.
How did you get started with that, starting with where you went to school?
Okay, I took a lot of wrong turns, I guess you could say. I did my undergraduate at Xavier University, and I was a huge sports fan growing up in high school, in college. I didn't know I would ever be able to do anything with it, but I was a huge fan. I was really good at math, and my ultimate plan at 18 years old was I'm going to go to college, get a math degree, become a math professor at a university, not because I like math, but I want to work at a university and hopefully be able to afford season tickets for that school's teams. About a month, maybe less, into being a freshman at Xavier, I realized I absolutely hated math, and I switched my major from math to nothing. So one of the things I always tell incoming freshmen is that even if you have no idea what you want to do, you're still a lot further along than I was. I had to progress to get to nothing. But what I did was that I went to grad school in college student personnel, had some internships, student activities. I was a grad RA, if you could even believe that. And one of them was in student athlete academic support at Wright State. And I think I scared them. I knew so much about the NCAA and so much about college basketball, college sports in particular. And I was also an almanac of useless information, having changed my major a couple times. So I was a really useful tutor. And that's just when the light went on. That was how I landed my first job. I went from there to UAB, which that was, I guess, the first full-time job, but I always wanted to get back to this area because of where I'm rooted. And when this position opened, I guess it was in 2017, I jumped at it and was fortunate enough to get it.
Pivoting to some day-to-day work, how do athletes maintain and acquire eligibility?
Oh, this is going to be riveting. This is really exciting stuff. Essentially, at the end of each academic year, so it's on a 5-year cycle, so freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and then double senior, the 5th year senior, you have to have a certain percentage of your degree completed. It's 20% at the end of your first year, 40 at the end of your second, 60, 80. So that is one of the things that we're always monitoring, like if someone changes their major or degree program, if someone's transferring in and declaring one, are they hitting those benchmarks? The other thing that they have to do is maintain a 2.0 GPA while they're here. One of the things I'm big on is that I don't want to say, here are the 80 or 90 degrees that we offer, but here's the 2 or 3 you get to pick from. I've always been big on letting them work towards the one they want and trying to come up with a plan to where, well, if you're short in this one, could we switch you to something else for now and then maybe switch you back into it later? Because you don't want people coming here and either leaving here with nothing or leaving here with something they really didn't want, but were stuck in so they could compete.
What was your role in maintaining the continuity of student athlete eligibility during the COVID-19 pandemic?
It was tough because, for starters, no one was here. So everybody that you're normally seeing every day, or at least every other day, and meeting with and making sure they're going on right, that wasn't going on. So you did a lot of FaceTime meetings, Zoom meetings. We did a lot from texts. And then some people really even struggled with that because maybe they didn't have internet back home or where they lived. I remember some of the football players, my God, they would drive to McDonald's, sit in the parking lot for hours and do all their work in their car because that was where they could get free Wi-Fi. So that was kind of a challenge, trying to monitor that virtually. sometimes there's mornings you just don't want to get up and come in. You're just tired. But during that, I was like, oh man, I just need to see people again, students again, get back in those meetings.
What have been some of the challenges working with the transfer portal policy changes with student athletes eligibility?
One of the challenges is just that a lot of sports that weren't transfer heavy before have become transfer heavy, and a lot of sports that were have become more transfer heavy. And transfer students, there's a lot to monitor. If they're coming in from junior colleges, there's certain rules they have to meet. If they're coming in from other NCAA institutions, there's other rules they have to meet. They might be behind what they want to do once they get here. So they might say they're majoring in computer science and they want to keep doing that when they get here. Well, not everything might articulate over here. So the challenge is going from doing that to maybe 20 or 30 people a year to doing it to 2 and 3 times as many, and trying to figure out new career paths for those that get here. As far as student athletes transferring out, I think it's harder. It's especially hard for the coaches because it feels like at the end of each year, you almost have to recruit your whole team over again. And sometimes it can be hard to keep an athlete engaged. They might be excited about their next opportunity. You got to keep reminding them, hey, you got to make sure you're leaving here eligible so you can have that opportunity. So what used to be a revolving door with about 20 or 30 in it, now it seems like it's a revolving door with about 90 people in it.
With those changes in mind, why should an aspiring student athlete commit their eligibility to Morehead State University?
I think one of the things is that we're going to work with you, whether you're coming in as a freshman or transferring in. We're going to do the very best we can, and we're going to outline all the ways to help you get the degree you want. And if you look at all of our programs from the athlete side, I know this is more the coaches, but we're competitive, or we're either at or near the top of the league in so many of our sports. Women's basketball, while it struggled a few years ago, my God, look at there aren't too many programs in the nation that have moved up the net rankings and the RPI rankings as much as they have in the last 2 years. If they keep going like they're going, I mean, they're going to be really good really fast. I think we are getting there. Men's basketball has been really competitive. Football, it seems like there's always 2 or 3 plays a year that make the difference from us either winning the PFL or getting close and not. So you feel like that's 90% of the way there. Softball's gotten a lot better. Volleyball is, I mean, everybody that comes in here through volleyball just has a fantastic experience. What I always tell recruits is that the promise that I can make to you is that you're going to compete for conference championships. Our goal is to compete in NCAA level championships after winning the conference. You're going to get to major in the degree program that you want, and you're going to get to be not part of us for 4 or 5 years, but we want you for 40. We always want you to feel like this is your home. Look at any event that we have, literally just about any of them. There's alumni here. There's former players here. They may have played here several years ago, but they still feel a connection to it. And that's an awesome community to be a part of when you can meet an alumni for the first time and feel like you already know them because of that shared experience.